Thank you for having me tonight, and good evening to everybody. I hope everyone is well and remaining safe in these challenging COVID times. So my name, as Nikia said, is Sade Adenekan, and I've been a physician now for just over 30 years. And I'll be talking to you about my unusual medical career here in the UK with some reflective lessons, which I hope you will find useful. I'd also talk briefly on my mentoring journey with some emphasis on the role of gender in mentoring. Finally, I will then leave you with 3 key messages, which hopefully will help inspire you on your mentoring journey, should that be an option that you might want to consider going forward. First, let's start with an icebreaker. So what do you see? Some people will say, oh, I see a young lady, but others might see a very old lady resting her poor chin on her chest. I put this up because there's no right or wrong answer. And this personally, for me, brings to light what a lot of us as doctors tend to do in terms of our traditional routes of finishing medical school, wanting to specialize and then working as a specialist. And for those of us that came to the UK, that was our initial thoughts, as well as the younger generation who were actually born in this country. We all tend to want to follow that similar path, or so I thought. So my career in terms of being a doctor has not been straightforward, and mentoring has actually helped to streamline a lot of the decisions I've taken so far. So the message is there are no right or wrong answers. So I graduated from Nigeria, and shortly after my house job and mandatory youth service, I came to the UK. I was introduced to the NHS through my GP, who hired me as a health promotion coordinator at the time. I only went there to register, and I left her practice with a job. And that was my first experience of primary care. My NHS journey has since taken me through various positions, from health service management roles, whilst I undertook postgraduate training, and I ultimately became an accredited public health specialist, working up to assistant director level. And then I was made redundant. And that happened when public health, as many of you might know, moved from the NHS into the local authorities. I then decided to retrain in occupational medicine, which is the specialist area I currently work in. So a number of reflective lessons that I learned along that particular journey within the NHS. First one, walk your own path and do not measure your progress, or the pace of your progress using someone else's. There will always be someone who will be ahead or indeed behind you, but that should not dictate your plans. And you certainly will not have all the answers. My second lesson. If you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree, so be flexible, be open to change, weigh your options, find your passion and nurture it. More importantly, there's no time limit. I retrained in my 40s, so there's hope for everyone out there. My third reflection, do your best until you know better. When you know better, you do better. Common saying by Maya Angelou. No one's perfect and you will make mistakes, but make sure you learn from them and you move on. And this is where mentoring can be very valuable. But bear in mind that coaching and other methods is also a way of assisting decisions and options as well. So let's talk more about mentoring and the possible role of gender in deciding whether or not to be mentored or act as a mentee. First, we'll take a brief look at the context. David mentioned about, and Russell as well as Chima, about the lack of mentors amongst junior Black professionals. And this indeed is an issue, and I will totally agree with that. In 2018, the government took a look at the race within the workplace, and a report highlighting some of the inequalities was published. which again did not bring up any new surprises. It revealed that most BAME employees in general are more likely to be overqualified than their Caucasian peers, who were, however, are more likely to get promoted. And mentoring was seen as a key tool in addressing that. But as you can see from the figures, in the UK, on average, there are only 20 to 20% of organisations that have mentorship programmes that are targeted to the Black and ethnic minority groups. For me, and as Russell clearly demonstrated in his talk, mentoring is about having a collaborative and mutually beneficial partnership. And that's between a mentor, who's the person that possesses the skills, knowledge, and experience, and a mentee who is looking to increase their skills, knowledge, and experience. My mentoring journey started quite late in the NHS because I'd never heard about it for the life of me. And it took a mixed approach. Some were formal, some were informal. I've had male, I've had females. And I've also taken that similar approach with the just over 15 or so mentees I have had the privilege of supporting in their own career journey. And not all of them have been physicians, as Chim has also mentioned earlier. So what does gender have a role to play when it comes to mentoring? Let's start with the facts. Evidence has shown that there is a tendency for both men and women to seek out or assist only those of the same gender, which, to be honest, puts us women, especially the Black and ethnic minority ones, at a disadvantage. A survey done involving over 6,000 employees in 2019 revealed that 40% of UK managers, who were mostly male, which is most cases for us in the medical profession as well, expressed that they felt quite uncomfortable mentoring women. And about 60% of ethnic minority women reported that they had never had any formal or informal interaction with a senior leader within their own organisation. And that's shocking to the system. Women in general are about 24% less likely than men to get advice from a senior colleague. And there are many reasons for that. And I'm sure my colleague will say more about that in the next talk. But those that are mentored tend to stick with similar women, and because they feel more supported and satisfied with their careers. So the outcomes tend to be better when you're mentored by the same gender. Even though women in leadership remain a concern in terms of actual numbers, generally, people with mentors tend to get promoted and be satisfied with their career and feel more supported. But we still need to bear in mind that gender inequalities still exist. So what has been my experience when it comes to gender? Well, gender has not been an issue, as my priorities have not been targeted on the person that I'm looking to be mentored by. It always has been around matching the skills that I'm looking for and the additional experience I want to gain to my own interests. I know it sounds selfish, but at the end of the day, it's all about me when it comes to my career. And this has been for both the mentors I've worked with as well as the mentees. Also, having a clear expectations, a plan, and also an exit strategy has also informed my ground rules in general. Finally, mentoring is not for everybody. So that if it doesn't work out for you, I implore you, just be polite to whoever's involved and review other options to help you on your career journey. I'd like to finish my presentation with 3 takeaway messages because I normally like to do that. And I know Christmas is around the corner, but my first takeaway message is there is an art and science to being a doctor. The fact that you graduated means that you're competent. So whatever else you do, whether it's in the NHS or outside, you still have that ability to make a difference. So be flexible, be open to change, work your own path, and if you struggle, do seek help. And if it's through mentoring, that's great. My second takeaway message, mentoring is beneficial, but gender, as you can see, can be an issue. as the evidence has also highlighted. This is because there is a generalized reluctance of men in leadership to mentor women, which puts us at a disadvantage. And this is something that should be seen as a call to action for us more senior doctors of ethnic background. And what we do going forward. And I think today is a great start for us on that journey to help support our junior colleagues coming up in the career field. And my third takeaway message is, even though there are limited numbers of ethnic minority and women in leadership, female doctors should not see this as a barrier to accessing mentoring or indeed mentoring others. Although the evidence has stated otherwise, the evidence also has shown that people with mentors, whatever the gender, tend to feel more supported, get promoted, and overall have more job satisfactions going forward. So good luck. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of the evening.